Seconded to all. Let's see, any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Shay, do you have a vote on the consent agenda?
I apologize. Every time I click on mute.
I know. It's going to be tough. Thanks. All right, so we'll go right into reports. Shay is off taking her daughter to college, so she's in, she's in Rhode Island. Okay, I didn't know she wanted me to say, but she's in Rhode Island right now. So she's Zooming in, and there might be some lag in voting and stuff like that, but she'll try to stay, I'll try to stay on top of making sure we have her in there. And then, so part of my report is, anyone that didn't know, you will notice that we're down a town council member. Emily Castillo resigned, it was a week ago or a little bit over a week ago. So we now need to fill that position. And we've just discussed this recently, and there's statutorily you have to do it a certain way. And I think that what we are planning to do is have an announcement, let everyone know that we are down a town council member. If anyone would like to apply, of course, you have to live within the incorporated boundaries of the town of Alpine. You could send an email to me or send it to Monica, and she will disperse it to the rest of town council. But basically, anybody's eligible, and then we will discuss it, come up with someone to appoint, and then it'll be ratified in a town council meeting. Does that sound about right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if anyone's interested, go ahead, Monica.
We would like the applications back by noon on the 1st of July.
That's right. So that's pretty much 2 weeks. It's a little bit over 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So noon on the July 1st would be the deadline if you'd like to, quote unquote, apply for this position. If you have any questions, more than happy to respond to emails that people have regarding what does it take or whatever. So that would be kind of real important. We'd like to have that person in by the second meeting in July. So our hope is to get applications, viable people that want to serve and give us public services is not easy, so, but we're looking for just someone that is passionate. And anyways, if you had that in by noon on the 1st, and then we would ratify it hopefully on the meeting on the 17th. No, 15th, I'm sorry. July 15th would be our second meeting that month. Mountain Days is this weekend. And of course, everyone knows to come to Mountain Days, but one thing in particular is Cushing Terrell, our consultants for the master plan, are going to be there in attendance, and they have, they're looking to talk to anyone basically that lives in the area and learn more about what you want to see out of the master plan. They're going to ask you, like, where do you actually live? We don't care if you live in the town of Alpine necessarily, in the incorporated town of Alpine. We're looking for information for everyone in the whole area in what you foresee the town of Alpine should look like in the future. So if you get a chance, go. Their booth is supposed to be right next to the town of Alpine's booth. So I encourage everyone to go and talk to the consultants. So that's all I had for right now. We'll move on to the...
Real quick,
yes.
Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for us to text out to the town?
Oh, yes.
To remind them perhaps if they could do that this weekend?
Yes, for sure. We will text not only...
About the Mountain Days, but
Yes,
great.
yes, exactly. Thanks for the reminder. I think staff had planned to do that, but we'll just make sure that happens. Sarah will make sure it happens. Thanks, Shay. Events committee report.
That's me.
That's you.
So as the mayor alluded to, we have Mountain Days this weekend, which is our biggest event of the year. It's always a great draw, lots of good stuff happening. We have live music both Friday and Saturday night this year. We're going to have a breakfast Saturday morning and Sunday morning. And then the Raptor Center, the Native American dancers, lots of kids activities. We're doing the community art project again, which has been a big hit the last 2 years. Lots of great fun for everybody.
Food vendors.
Food vendors.
Galore.
All sorts of craft vendors.
Yep.
Yeah, it should be a good time. There's going to be a bounce house for the kids. And
Will there be one for the adults?
you're going to have to negotiate that with the bounce house
Yeah.
owner, but maybe.
And we've made posts with kind of like the schedule of events on Facebook, but it's on our website as well. If anyone wants to see kind of when things are going to happen, you can go to our Facebook page or the Town of Alpine page, right?
Yep, there's
Okay.
an opening ceremony at noon on Friday that the American Legion will be handling for us, and then let the fun begin.
That's right. All right, sounds good. Engineering report, Kevin, did you want to? Okay. Great, yeah, please, go for it.
Yeah, I know you've got a full schedule. So the radio read water meter project is ongoing. I've just talked to Craig. The Public Works have got 157 of theirs in, so they're right about halfway done. They're trying to get all theirs done by the first week of July, so they can be ready to go and get it operational. The software system's getting uploaded a little bit, trying to get all the data and software in. The contractor core in Maine, they've got to get started with their vaults and start getting going. So they still haven't put any of theirs in yet.
Right.
But they still have a month and a few days to get their project done. So we've got that. We don't have any development reviews just yet right now. We're doing water and sewer rate recommendations. We're working on that with the town staff, trying to get all that worked out for y'all to give you a recommendation. Water permitting, the state engineering's office has everything they need. You're finalized with that. So now we're just waiting on the DEQ part, and that will come out after the Sunrise Engineering's water study, what was due in August.
Okay.
So we'll start working on that, seeing what we need to do with that. The sewer fund, the same thing with the rate and the capacity fees. Ref Tellis is working with the staff on that, on the capacity fees, to move forward with that. Water treatment plant, looking at different contractors at this point. And then we'll,
On the pretreatment.
on the
plant.
pretreatment plant, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
And then on the brewery effluent, we've been talking to wastewater treatment plant staff, public works staff, town staff, and Melvin Brewery on how to get the correct biological work. So we're going to keep a nice steady flow on the plant. So those are the big things in a nutshell.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
Anyways, any questions for Kevin? Thanks,
All right.
Kevin.
You're welcome.
Oh, boy. Let me see if I can get rid of that. All right, next we have planning and zoning. And we have Mo.
Not sure, I'm sure you guys got the meeting minutes from our last meeting, so, we reviewed a few site plans, some nice, businesses coming in, the auto services, that looked like a really nice addition to the town, new employee housing, or no, not employee housing, she wasn't quite sure if she was gonna do that as employee housing, but a few items that were tabled, we discussed the new electrical inspection, made a recommendation to y'all for y'all to take a look at and see what you thought. And I think that was it. Although I did just read on the agenda that you guys were going to go over the, for the first reading on the LUDC. Did I see that on your guys' agenda? We didn't realize that was going to go on the books yet, so we'll have to review that as well. We've also taken it upon ourselves to, each of us have as a section again. We're going to read through it again and go through there, so.
You may have some additions. And
Yeah,
there's,
and it's only the first reading, so we have plenty of time to
Yeah.
go over it and stuff. Yes, sir.
you will see the changes that are on the first reading. It's kind of imperative to get them done sooner
I was
than
reading
later.
through them
Yeah.
tonight. Yes, sir.
So, but we definitely encourage your feedback. If you guys don't get a chance to come up with some you know.
Oh, our deadline, we made a personal responsibility to have a deadline of going through all of we each have a section to have them done by our meeting in July, sorry.
Okay.
So we should have more notes from then, and we'll be able to compare
Okay,
'em.
yeah, and we'll try to incorporate those in, to the final readings as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay,
Any
anything else?
questions for Mo?
Thanks, Mo.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. I am just struggling here, trying to get this darn Zoom thing up here is just killing me, sorry. Let me try this again.
And Eric, I can just be I have the agenda in front of me.
Okay.
So
I'm-
Don't worry about me, I'll just unmute.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to keep this up here for everyone in attendance as well. So, next we have Councilmember Larson.
Yeah, so kind of piggyback both on economic development and travel and tourism for the county. As of right now, not too much going forward with economic development, other than they're still looking at kind of the travel plan that the county is doing as well, and looking at trails and making basically for this valley a valley-wide trail system to piggyback off in economic development. With that, they finally got their travel and tourism board together. What they've done is encouraged, drafted those that are on current travel and tourism boards throughout the county to have one member on the county's travel and tourism board. So we met 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And with that, got that together, actually had a real meeting, started it off. So there is now a board, and going forward, there will be more meetings and putting together budget proposals to take applications for projects, events going on in the county. But right now, we're still kind of getting the meat and potatoes of bylaws and everything like that together. With that, Alpine Travel and Tourism, we had our final meeting and awarded our grants to Alpine Mountain Days, Alpine Winter Jubilee, Music in the Mountains. Shay, when does that start?
So I had all 5 bands booked, I lost 2. So I am trying to start July 3rd. And so I am hustling to get my last 1 or 2. I'm waiting to hear in the next 24 hours, and then we will get a ton of marketing published with Sarah and get things moving.
Great.
All right, let me ask Shay just real quick. Shay, are you looking for additional bands? Like, do we need to put it out there to the world, or are you getting close to finalizing the last few?
I have calls out to 4 bands at the moment, so if I don't get any traction in the next 24 hours, I may beg for help.
Okay,
We'd be happy to help.
yep, yeah, let us know.
Let us in the office know how we can help, Shay.
Absolutely, I'm daily working on it. Thanks.
Thanks, Shay. Continue list SVI for marketing, and Alpine Fire District, Alpine Trail Groomer for 1-year lease, Reggae in the Rockies, interactive touchscreen for 1-year lease, 4th of July fireworks, Star Valley Trout Unlimited, Shakespeare in the Park, which will actually be next year, summer, Art Council Arts Festival, Art Council Art Auction, Friends of the BT, and ATAP. So all totaling $205,106 has been kind of doled out between all those organizations. Our next meeting, scheduled meeting, will be in October for feedback reports, and if there's any new applications, that'll be going again from January 1 to March 15th. Other than that, finally, utility easement. It's going pretty well. Looks like Silver Star is done for the most part. LVE is going to be done in about 3 weeks. They're just putting lines up now at the very top of Sunset into Terrace. And then they're going to have another line coming out of Mountain Drive, I believe. But they're guessing they'll be completed within the next 3 weeks of burying all power lines to transformers. If you see power lines going to homes, that's on the homeowner. So if you are interested in having that, it'll be something to reach out to Joyce at LVE about burying that power line from the main transformer to your house. You'll have to get that worked out with an excavator and everything, but she can give you instructions on exactly how to do that. That's it.
All right, thank you. And then we have the sheriff's report was submitted in writing, so we'll move on to public comment. So this traditionally is the time when, if there's any public comments want to be made during any, for any action item, this is the time to do it. There are some people that want to come up now and talk about the school. I just want everyone to know that I will also take public comment during the school discussion. So you don't have to feel obligated to come up now if you don't want to, but I know we have at least one person that wants to talk about the school. You can come up and talk about anything on the action items. If anyone has any comments, please, this is your time to do it. We normally set aside 20 minutes and 3 minutes per speaker to try to keep it moving forward. So I see one person standing up. Ms. Oceani wants to be the first person, so we'll try to keep it to 3 minutes, if that's all right, Kathy?
No problem. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Kathy Oceani, an Alpine resident and involved community member for 37 years. You need to vote no on the proposed lease for the charter school. The conditions which were spelled out in the letter of intent passed in September 2024 have not been met. The school group keeps rationalizing why they have not met the conditions or provided other requested information. Sorry. A real enrollment study might prove there are not many students in the Alpine area that will be attending this school, since there are no transportation or meal services or extracurricular activities. They claimed they needed to know the exact location. This was an excuse. The enrollment projections they put forth are pie-in-the-sky numbers which have no basis in fact. The data from a real enrollment study would make a clear case for not leasing them the town land. This is the more likely reason it has not been done. The charter board has provided no financial information other than they are dead broke. Once again, this lack of transparency is intentional. The expectation was the master plan process would make it clear if most of the citizens favor using the town land for this purpose, it should be a question on the master plan survey. They're subverting the master plan process. I mean no offense. We are entitled to clarifications with this next one. A disclaimer from Councilman Burchard is needed if she is not going to recuse herself. She needs to go on the record that her husband has not been and will not be paid for services of any kind. Considering his business is involved with technology setup, it seems likely he will be the person providing these services since he is on the charter school board. Will he only be doing this as a volunteer? Mr. Dave Jenkins should go with a private parcel for this experiment. He won't have to answer to anyone except the authorizing board and his patrons. This project has interfered with the town focusing on vital matters such as the master plan and the pre-treatment plant. The town is trying to do too much, too fast, with a lack of focus and prioritizing. I have never seen an issue cause such turmoil and division in our community. Those who are questioning whether this is the right educational solution for the children of Alpine or use of the town land are being called names and cast as villains who are against children. Many, myself included, are professional educators and administrators who have always put children first and know about what is educationally best for kids. Mr. Jenkins' brief time as a school board member does not qualify him in this arena. Perhaps that is why this has been such a mess. The lack of stability of the charter board is very troubling. Mr. Jenkins is the only original board member. Why did the others leave? No explanations are ever given. The charter board did not do their due diligence in selecting their former provider. They are no longer using them due to a guilty trial verdict against the owners, which recently came to light. Ordinance number 1997-59 negates the legality of moving old buildings onto any lot in the town of Alpine without meeting the minimal conditions for variance approval and being properly permitted. This ordinance was not marked as repealed, so it is still in effect. Section F says, any building moved into town prior to being properly permitted shall be subject to fines on a daily basis up to $750 per day until moved from the town boundaries. This group routinely waits until the last minute to get on agendas in an effort to stack meetings with supporters only. There's always an emergency requiring immediate action. The March meeting smacked of blackmail. You either give us the town land or there won't be a school. They claim the town has held them up, but they're the ones who are not fulfilling the requirements. Please stop this controversial project. Tell them to find a private parcel. Thank you for your time. I mean, no offense to anyone. I know people who are well-intentioned and trying to do a good thing, but we as an opposing viewpoint hopefully can, I hope I've disagreed agreeably and politely, and mean no offense to anybody who's been working on this project. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
So now, anyone else, any other agenda item anyone want to tackle? Appreciate your comments. We will move right on to action items. Let me just get up to speed here. Okay. So first is resolution number 2025-021. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-021, a resolution declaring a vacancy on the town council.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Obviously, this is statutorily required, right, Madam
Yes.
Clerk? Okay. Basically says that we have a council member resigned, and we are doing everything we need to do statutorily to fill the vacant seat. Any discussion?
Yeah, the only thing I'll bring up again, not to overuse or bombard Monica and Sarah, I would hope perhaps we could text out. I know a large majority may not be jumping on town council YouTube, so if that's something we could actually send out, that would be wonderful.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I already made a note during your earlier discussion to make sure Sarah did that. So
Yeah.
we'll take care of it.
Thank you. We'll definitely do that, and we'll post on our Facebook page
And send an email.
yeah,
as well.
we'll send out the email. We'll do everything we can to make sure people know, just in case they haven't heard that. Anyways, any further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 2025-021, resolution declaring a vacancy on town council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution carries. Next, do we have a motion on the memorandum of understanding between Lincoln County Police Officers Association, the Town of Alpine, Lincoln County Sheriff, and Star Valley, Bank of Star Valley?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. Discussion. Okay, so this has been something that the Town of Alpine's been trying to do for quite some time. And most recently, I was in discussion with the sheriff and Mr. Sorensen from the Lincoln County Police Officers Association. And the discussion was regarding a piece of land that was over in Alpine Meadows, which we were hoping to put a single-family residence on and put a sheriff's deputy over there. After doing some research, I wish we would have found this a long time ago, but that piece of land is not conducive to putting a house on it. There's too much infrastructure on there. Maybe a park or something would be good for that piece of land, but not for housing. So the town of Alpine does have another piece of land, 1.5 acres, which is in the same subdivision, but it's kind of over by the Red Barn, if everyone knows where that is. That's kind of on the old Alpine Road or County Road 100. So it's just off of that road. And so I mentioned to the sheriff and Mr. Sorensen that maybe that's a piece of land that we might be interested in. So at this point, I think it'd be best to invite you up and just discuss what you're proposing that we do to kind of fill this need that we have for housing here. And yeah, if you don't mind. And please tell us your name.
So, Mike Sorensen with the Lincoln County Peace Officers Association. The proposal on that piece of ground would be simply to do the most housing we could put on it in conjunction with the
What's
county
allowed,
engineer.
Yep.
And because there are a number of institutions, not just the county, or not just, excuse me, the sheriff's office, but others, highway department, people like that, perhaps teaching situations, medical people. We don't really necessarily need to know who they are right now, but what we would do is master plan the lot to put as much housing as feasibly possible that fit into the restrictions from the homeowners association over there.
Right.
I just got a copy of their CCNRs today that we're starting to look at. At the very least, we would do one, which we have, and the funding's done, the thing's ready to do it. The idea would be to get it in as quickly as we possibly can. It's going to take a lot of coordination for a lot of people to make that happen. But as you know, having an officer in the city has been something that's been long overdue and been very difficult to come up with, and
Yeah.
this is a solution. So
Can you tell us a little bit about your funding? How you would do that?
I've worked out an arrangement with the Bank of Star Valley, and basically I'm providing the guarantee behind it, but it's already approved for whatever we need to do to be able to build it. It's contingent, obviously, upon our relationship with the city, but the funding is in place. We're ready, we could start using it tomorrow if we needed to. Unfortunately, Rod Jensen from the bank wasn't able to be here. He fired himself as a judge today and is swearing in the new person, whoever it is, tonight. So I think he's trying to retire, but he'll never do it. Anyway, so this is a way to get it done, basically. And
One question I have, you said that you'd be open to maximizing the amount of housing that's on there. One thing that you and I haven't talked about, I've told you that we have a master plan going on, but one concern that I've heard from people is that maybe we're rushing this too much right now, and maybe it'd be better to wait until the master plan was finished. And the master plan kind of said, like, any town land, this piece of property you should use for housing or whatever it is. So I just wanted to let you know that's kind of been something that's been bantered around recently. I think on that 1.5 acres, like you say, we could do anything from a single-family residence up to
maybe a fourplex,
something like that.
something like that.
And if you also take into consideration that that is zoned MRC, which is kind of the most flexible zoning we have, that there might be other things that we'd be able to do with that piece of property. So I think we have to take that into account, that maybe we figure out like one corner to put housing on right now that wouldn't limit us for the future if something came out of the master plan. So that's something we've talked about. But what are your thoughts, or do you have any questions for Mr. Sorensen?
Yeah, I mean, basically kind of discussing that. The biggest issue is that MRC categorization. So if it's something that collaborate with others, I know you've talked about YDOT, you've talked about
the
school,
hospital.
the school system, just to try and maximize everything that we can with that 1.5 acres, even if it's maximizing it out, or if it's, we have 0.25 acres of it for housing for you guys, and then maximize the rest. We're just not
Okay,
know.
let me make a point.
Please.
Okay? Number one is you'll never get it done,
Right.
because everybody will have to go through their own process to get it done. Number two is it's been 4 years that this was presented to the sheriff, or to the sheriff's department, and you still haven't made a decision. We will build the facilities for all of those people. All we have to do is decide. You decide who you want to have there, and we'll get it up and get it ready to go. But I want you to understand that I won't do it unless the foundation gets to manage it, because you guys change from time to time, and we need to have consistent somebody taking care of that property all the time, making sure you have the right people in there all the time.
Trust me, we don't want to manage.
And we'd like to get it up, and you don't have to have any of that resolved for us to go ahead and build it. I'll build whatever we can work out to build on it right now, and then we'll figure out who goes into it once you guys make up your mind what you want to do with it. We definitely need one for a deputy.
Yep.
And I think you need the deputy now, not sometime into the future, which is already 4 years overdue as far as I can tell. So,
Thank you.
The town of Alpine's been talking about for a long time. Yes, this most recent 4 years, it was a lot closer, but it's always two steps.
But remember,
forward,
you don't have to
step
fight
back.
over the financing for it. You don't have to fight over the plan. We'll do it in conjunction with all the things we have to do. Your suggestion of having the city engineer work with us on the thing solves a lot of problems. He knows where all the issues are over there. The idea is to get somebody in there this year, preferably before the snow flies, so you have a deputy on the site for this whole area out here.
Yep. We're in agreement.
And the other housing up too. We'll do it all at the same time, so.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. I did have a quick question for the sheriff, if you don't mind, Sheriff Johnson. It's kind of a broad question, but what would a deputy feel about living here and also patrolling this area? That's something else that's kind of been brought up. What are your thoughts in general about that?
What would they feel about?
Would they, do they get people knocking on their door, be like, hey, have you gone over to?
That could happen.
Okay.
But we'll do our best. It's not like this person is going to be the only one assigned to Alpine.
Right.
It just gives a presence in Alpine.
You should also clarify that, well, I'll clarify it for you, but that we kind of upped our service with the county where we actually, you hired another deputy last year, and we share that deputy kind of with Star Valley Ranch,
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So this person may not, they may live here, but they're going to be patrolling wherever,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly. But what it does allow us to do is there's going to be a larger presence of deputies down here. I mean, the furthest we have one living north now is about Star Valley Ranch, and that's an element of the cost. So this is a solution to that. It would allow this end of the county and the town of Alpine to have someone reside down here that's not going to happen otherwise, and have a larger presence for uniformed officer down here. So that would be the goal, and I think we can accomplish that. And just a quick comment on, I mean, I was approached by the previous mayor about working on this, and then we've had meetings with the county, and it's gone back and forth. It's clear the county doesn't want to manage it. It's clear that Alpine doesn't want a management. I hope this comes across as a solution where we can finally get something moving forward and get something done. If that's what, Alpine wants to happen.
Yeah.
I think this is a good vehicle to get that done.
Yep. Great. Any questions for the sheriff?
Thank you.
you.
I do have
Yep.
a couple questions there.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I was wondering, first off, this land is not your typical land. I mean, we discussed it's about $1.5 million worth of land. And then, I think, like Jeremy noted, it is highest and best use as far as multifamily. Is Rod Jensen able to put enough money behind it if it was a multi-family location? And then thirdly, if we're willing to do this, then would our cost for the deputies go down perhaps 30-40%, if this came on the table after our master plan was complete?
There's a bunch of questions there. I don't know if you
I know.
have answers
Well,
to.
the main one to Sheriff Johnson is, if we finish our master plan, and that's kind of the discussion we have, would there be a negotiation as far as our annual fee to Lincoln County Sheriffs?
Well, we can negotiate. Without going into a lot of detail here, I think for $130,000 to have 24-hour coverage right now, you're getting a hell of a deal. So it's not likely that that's going to go backwards. It's only going to go in one direction. But those discussions can happen.
Yep.
I've said a lot of, in the past, I mean, Alpine can entertain getting their own police department and look at the cost there and compare what's going on
And we've had those discussions
Right.
over the past 2
Right.
years, and I think everyone's kind of on the same boat. Yeah, that's,
and that's the other thing. I'm not here in that capacity. I'm here as, I mean, I'm obviously the sheriff, but I'm here with the foundation who wants
Yeah.
to see this and has some backing behind it to get it.
yeah,
done.
I think the MOU that you sent, I think there's lots of holes we'd have to plug up, and we're willing to look at that. I think the biggest thing that we were hoping tonight from town council was to get a feeling about, are we on the right excuse me, are we on the right path? Do we need to pull back? Do we need to do some more research? Do we need to, wait until the master plan? Do we want to proceed and see, maybe come up with some options that they could put housing on that wouldn't necessarily pigeonhole us or limit our ability to develop it more? I think those are some of the things that are on the table, so.
I think this is maybe not only to authorize yourself to sign, but to negotiate. Conversation this weekend with Cushing Terrell is just as simple as that conversation. Hey, we have this going on. We see the immediate need, as Mike stated out, that it would be very impactful for this end of the valley to have deputies stationed here.
Yeah, our master plan, the firm completing our master plan will be here in town this weekend, as we said, for Mountain Days. And if there was a way we could facilitate a meeting to just kind of discuss with them what you're thinking and planning, I think the timing is great for that. Just to keep the ball moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's the key is like I said, it's, things have changed, but this has been a long time in doing. The foundation's ready to do something, but we don't want to be in 2 years still thinking about this, or even a year if we're going to do something. So if that can move pretty quickly, I think the foundation will be on board. Otherwise, my sense is that they'll look somewhere, they'll go somewhere else, so.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sheriff. Any other discussion or any suggestions on how we should proceed?
We can modify, like I say, just for have you to negotiate and sign.
Okay.
For me, I can't go down this path, I feel like, until the master plan is complete, because even a 30-year, lease, or however we wanna, massage it, I just think it's ahead of the curve, and it pains me, I know they've been waiting 4 years, but I think we're at this precipice for our town, that we're this close. I don't wanna jump the gun on the experts telling us what would benefit the town most.
Mr. Sanderson, you've looked at this MOU. Do you have any recommendations or suggestions of changes? Could you turn on your microphone, please?
My only question is, as far as this is having, if the lease terminates, that the town would be able to purchase it for fair market value. I'm wondering if we could just amend that so it could be fair market value less the value of the land. Is that possible?
So the question is,
So if you put a $400,000 house on it and there's $100,000 worth of land, our ability to purchase it at the termination of the lease or some sort of default would be at $400,000, that we wouldn't be buying our land back.
yeah,
Does that
we would
make
just,
sense? Okay, all right, we'll add that. That was my main.
okay. There might be a few other small things on here, but any other suggestions that you guys would like to make, you can voice them now, or you can tell me via email or whatever, any other concerns you have. I think this MOU really isn't tying us to anything, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Sanderson?
Understanding, yes.
Yeah, it's just an understanding, and there's basically saying there's lots to be worked out, but we are working together to see how quickly we can get this figured out. So if everyone feels good about that, then I feel comfortable moving forward. The master plan will be approved in the spring of next year. So it's about a year process. But not to say that's going to hold this up right now. This MOU doesn't have to say anything about that, but I think at this point, we just make it very open and pretty loose as far as responsibilities for everyone, and let's just see if we can come up with a good plan. But I feel comfortable with that as long as everyone else at town council.
I do.
I mean, I would prefer to hear from Rod Jensen on what is possible, because it would pain me to hear putting one house on 1.5 acres, then I'm not sure Alpine Meadows, I know it says the subdivision, but are they responsible to the town or to the subdivision first?
Well, they have to build what's allowable within the subdivision first, and
Because I guess I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves if they're thinking one house or a duplex on 1.5 acres. I mean, I understand this is a memo of understanding, but I feel like that's the giant elephant in the room, is how much housing would go on the lot.
yeah, I think this is kind of a memo of understanding to get some more information. So I don't think that we're gonna tie up the land. Obviously, anything that comes out of this MOU, I mean, if we want to have some more language on there about understand the funding options, things like that, we can add those. Did you have something to add, Mr.
Well,
Schwartz?
the point is, I think she missed what I said, which is, we will get with the engineers, and we will maximize what can be put on that lot. We came here looking at one lot that was at a different place.
Right.
We were ready to go do that. What we're saying now is, if you're gonna give us an acre and a half, we're gonna maximize that so we can use it for whatever you come up with that needs the additional space, but let's do it all at the same time, get the whole piece completely developed, as much as you can put on it.
And we'll work together to make that choice of
Yeah.
what works best.
That sounds great.
And that's where the MOU comes from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Sounds good. Well, we have a big agenda, so I want to keep this moving forward, but I think we should go to a vote. We don't have any amendments or anything. We'll just,
I could do motion to amend, adding authorize Mayor Green to work on negotiations and to finally sign an MOU.
we have an amendment. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have amendment and a second. Discussion. Shay, were you able to hear that amendment?
I did.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of said amendment, say aye.
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 Do I just say?
Council members Scafidi, I'm sorry, opposed?
Opposed, nay.
Okay, I'm sorry. So amendment passed. So now we're back to the original amendment. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of said motion with the amendment, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. So thank you for coming and being present, and we'll definitely work together, and we'll maybe sort out some of the other little details, and we'll get back to you guys really soon. All right, thanks. You're welcome to stay. Okay. Understandable. And we'll get to the school here in just a second. There's a few business things that we want to get done, so we're real close. Next is the traffic calming device application. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve Alpine Meadows traffic calming device application for Alpine Meadows for speed bumps 3, 5, and 6.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. This darn Zoom, I cannot bring up. Ooh, that'd be smart. Let's see. Oh, gosh. Where were you like 57 minutes ago? Yeah. Thanks for watching me this whole time. All right. Madam Clerk, can you give us just a little history on this, a little update?
Yeah, Over a year ago, Alpine Meadows had submitted an application to install speed bumps. There was some discussions, and it ended up falling by the wayside for multiple reasons. And so Heather had reached out to me, and we got the new application submitted. So what you have in your packet is a copy of the application, copy of the correspondence that they did to their property owners, and then the responses of the affected property owners, and you have my report about the summary of the responses, which I think was the first item in the list. And so speed bump number 1 and 2 was eliminated due to the fact that the street in which they had requested for that to be put on is considered a collector or arterial route. And then, what were the numbers that were approved? So
sorry.
number 4 did not, you're fine. Number 4 did not have the required approvals.
2/3.
So the 2/3 approvals from the adjacent property owners. The other ones all have the required 2/3 approvals by adjacent property owners. Craig has reviewed it and has found no problems with the ones that remain on the list or their locations. And it is my recommendation that you approve their application to install speed bump number 3, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And then they will purchase them. There will be no cost to the town for purchasing them, but Craig's crews will install them.
Okay, so just to clarify, the installation, the removal every single year, that if we approve this, the town of Alpine is going to be responsible for it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and our public works director has told us he's willing to do that, so his guys will do it. Anyways, I know there's a few people that are from the subdivision. If you would like to make any comments, you're more welcome to come up here. At this point, it seems like everything's in order. We've done statutorily everything required. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, so we have,
I just say for anybody wondering at home.
Yes.
They are seasonal. So
Yeah.
people are thinking, well, what about when they plow in the wintertime? They will be taken out.
okay. Did we get a motion on the table?
We did.
Okay, good. We're moving forward. Any other discussion? All those in favor of motion to approve Alpine Meadows traffic calming devices application for Alpine Meadows for speed bumps 3, 5, and 6, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we're on to the Alpine Education Foundation lease agreement. I think what I would like to do is, they have a presentation that we could look at first, and then we could get a motion on the table if everyone would be happy with that. And I would invite the Alpine Education Committee to come up, and I will get okay. Let me get this here. Hopefully that doesn't block anybody. All right, great, thanks. We'll give you the floor.
Great.
Please give us your name.
Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, thank
Great. Mayor Green, council members of the town of Alpine, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know that you've all put a lot into this. I also wanted to thank all of my cohorts over here that have helped us through this process. The further down the road we've come, the more I believe that this school is at the forefront for the soul of Alpine. Kindness, integrity, responsibility, courage, wonder, moderation, justice, prudence, gratitude, and wisdom. All of these virtues and values have come into play through this crazy little community project. Never could I have imagined some of the challenges that have come up, but I found myself going back to these grounding principles. It has made me realize the importance of teaching our children these virtues and orienting them through education to seek answers to the burning question, what makes a good life? It's important because it is our children who will come next, working together to ask what makes a good town, and it will be them who will set out to build it. This decision to approve our lease is a testament to your investment and vision for a soulful Alpine. We are very grateful to you all for being here tonight, and with that, we wanted to provide a few updates. Mayor, if you would be so kind to go to the next slide. So as you all know, there's a couple of different structures to the boards. There's a formal school board for the Alpine School, and then there's also a private education foundation board. We invite anyone that would like to come and join our board meetings. We meet the second Thursday of every month at the Cobblestone Inn, and we also do provide a link where you're able to join as well. So just to introduce the Alpine Education Foundation board members, this is the independent entity. I'm Meredith Leonard. I'm a Etna resident, a mother, and I work in operations, architecture, and design. Luke here is our treasurer. He's an Alpine resident, a father, and a finance director. Dominique is traveling with her family, but she's an Alpine resident, a mother, and a business owner. And Melissa Rocklitz over here is an Alpine resident, a mother, and she works in nonprofit development. And then we are holding, we can have up to 9 board members per our bylaws, but we are holding a 5th position for a town council appointee. So whoever you think would be beneficial, we'd love to have them. Yes, thank you. And then we have our founding community members. This is the Alpine School Board. So Dave Jenkins couldn't be here tonight. His grandmother is turning 100. Kelly Shackelford also couldn't be here tonight. She's down in Salt Lake with her mother, her mother's having surgery. Melinda Dorian is over here. She's an Alpine resident, a mother, and a business owner. Dave Burchard, an Alpine resident, father, IT professional, search and rescue volunteer. And then Amy Weirda, who's an Alpine resident and a mother, and then she's also very involved in the Alpine community. So just to give everyone a sense of our school structure, so as many of you know, we did part ways with APA. At the end of the day, same concerns that the community brought up, we were able to go out and find a Wyoming state partnership with the Wyoming Classical Academy. So they are a local school in Mills, Wyoming, and they are looking to expand statewide. They utilize the Hillsdale College K-12 curriculum. And then we would have our local Alpine School Board, and then our operations provider would be Academica. So APA was a little unique in the sense that it kind of brought everything to the table. This gives us opportunity to not only have much more local support, but it allows statewide support, and then through Academica and Hillsdale, we also now have national support and resources that we can pull from. So we're working through exactly how this will look, but that's kind of the support system around our school. And then we have the Alpine Education Foundation, who owns the buildings, any of the buildings that would belong to the school. And we would also be the ones leasing the land from the town of Alpine. Are there any questions with that structure?
Well, we'll let you keep moving forward, and then if there's any questions at the end, we'll try to answer them.
Great.
Or have you answer them, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So site considerations and updates. We do have 4 modulars that the Alpine Education Foundation has purchased from the Jackson Hole Classical Academy. They are classroom ready, and we are looking to move those down here in the next couple weeks. We are working with a local architect to go through all of the required planning and zoning. We've also engaged with a local engineer to do the traffic study, working through parking, circulation, required entry and exit points for a school, and then snow removal and storage is also really important. We also are taking into consideration neighboring establishments and how this will impact them. Utilities, playground, the best spot for that, working with the fire department to make sure that they're comfortable with our turnarounds. and access to the school, school safety requirements. We'd love to hear that a deputy is going to be living in the town of Alpine. And then obviously landscaping. The modular buildings are not our long-term solution. They're a great way to get a school open at very low cost. And but we will do some landscaping to kind of make that area beautiful. So the site here that we're proposing is just kind of right over there behind the CDC. It's 3.5 acres. We have 4 modulars coming down from the Jackson Hole Classical Academy that the Alpine Education Foundation has purchased. That is of no financial responsibility to the town. And then it's actually the 4 modulars lay out really nicely in multiple ways on that site. So we're working through our local architect and the engineers to figure out what would be best. And then, Mayor, we would submit that to you and the town council for review and approval before we would move forward with anything. Just a couple shots of the exterior of the modular buildings, and then there's a couple shots of the interior showing that they are classroom ready. And we have a crew moving them down. We are asking for volunteers to come help us put them back together. We've got a lot of blue-collar folks that have reached out to help, which is wonderful. And then our next steps would be to fundraise. The Alpine Education Foundation's 501c3 status is still pending with the IRS. Donations right now can be made to Top of the Rockies and earmarked for the Alpine Wyoming Classical Academy. We are working on fundraising events that we'll share with the community. We also will have a booth at Mountain Days, which we're really excited about to get the word out. As I mentioned, the modulars will be starting to be moved this weekend, and we are looking for volunteers. And then more informational meetings will come in regards to the school for the local parents, but there is a July 10th meeting at the Wyoming Classical Academy in Mills that a lot of us will be attending, so if anyone wants to reach out and join us, we would love to have them. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. So I had one question came to mind when we were going through, and it's come up. There has been some concerns about mold infestation in these buildings. Have you guys gotten, when you purchased them, obviously they did an inspection, and was there any mold found?
No, and we've done thorough tours of them since, and there hasn't been an issue. None of those concerns have presented any credible evidence. So obviously we care about our kids. We want to make sure they're safe. So if anyone has any credible evidence, we'd love to take a look. Mold can be mitigated, and if we do find mold, then that's what we'll do.
Right.
Okay. Meredith, one of the questions I got asked was, did you have hired an inspector to actually do the inspection of the modulars before purchase?
That is a question that I don't know the answer to, Shay, but I will get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll open it up to town council members for any questions for Meredith, and then we'll get a motion on the table. Unless you'd rather get a motion on the table.
I'm gonna put a motion on the table. Where are we at here? Motion to allow Town of Alpine to enter into a lease agreement with the Alpine Education Foundation, Inc., and authorize Mayor Green to sign.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. So we've asked you a few questions. We've gone through the lease agreement, and Mr. Sanderson we talked about a couple additions that we would like to make, and I spoke to a few concerned citizens today about a couple other stipulations. One thing that I did want to point out was tenants' uses. I could get the we get rid of this. Okay. Tenants' uses. It was brought up today by a concerned citizen that it basically states here that it can be used for a school, a charter school, And then, basically, for no other purpose or purposes unless written consent has been approved by the landlord prior to the commencement of any other use provided. However, this limitation shall not preclude the use of facilities for community and community recreation purposes. I think the concern was that the language said landlord, assuming that the mayor is the landlord. That's not the case. The town council is the landlord, so there's not going to be some unilateral, I'm not going to be able to come in and say, now we're changing the use to something else because you aren't able to use it for a school anymore. It obviously has to go to town council. But is there any different language you would suggest that I put there, or are you comfortable with that?
I mean, I'm comfortable with that. To me, it's, you know, as long as council's comfortable with that, to me, that's obvious.
We didn't have any problem with it.
Mr. Sanderson, do you have any issues with
No,
that?
it was obvious to me.
Okay. Councilmember Burchard, do you have any issues with that paragraph, or how suggested?
No, I don't have any issues with it, but if we need to add clarity, we could give a definition of who is the landlord.
And I think that's kind of,
Is that in
That's
there?
in the first
I
paragraph.
think it's in the
Well,
first
there we
paragraph.
go.
Councilmember Scafidi, do you have any issues with that
Oh, yeah, there it is.
paragraph in particular, or the language in there?
I mean, I have a lot of issues, but I mean, I'll let you guys
With-
defer to Jim.
With that one paragraph in particular, the tenant's use?
Yeah, you mean as far as defining who the landlord is?
Yeah, or the specific comment that it could be changed?
Should be,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that should stay in there,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay, for sure. And then we had one other thing was brought up, and I think, Mr. Sampson, did you
I
add it?
just sent you two addendums to that.
Okay.
Just requiring removal if there's a default, they have to have it removed within 120 days. They pay all the costs, or the trustees in bankruptcy, or any person who's like signed any obligation of the tenant has to have it removed within 120 days. And I just emailed those to you.
Okay. We can take a look at that. Those were the main ones that I heard from this one particular concerned citizen. Mr. Sampson, can you clarify the FAA compliance and the abrogation easement? Is that a secondary document that we
That-
would enter in, the town would enter into, since we're the landowner?
Right.
We'd give them the easement.
We'd give the air park the easement.
Correct.
Over the property.
Right.
And that's what we have the aviation attorney working on, so.
Okay. So that'll be
That'll be a
an addendum
separate,
as
well, it won't be an addendum
Oh.
to this. They'll be subject to that easement.
Right.
But when the easement is signed and recorded, they'll be subject to it, but that has to come back towards us
Okay.
and the air park.
Okay. Any other lease questions? Any questions for Meredith or anyone on that board?
I don't think so.
I guess my only question, as well as I look back at the slides, was I just wanted to confirm as the parking circulation traffic study is complete, will those findings be presented to the town council pertaining to the lease, or how will that all play out?
Do you mind?
Yes.
So the process that the town is requiring the traffic study to be completed in is the special use permit process. The special use permit process it will be the process that they utilize that allows them to go outside the current rules and regulations of the Land Use Development Code and set used modulars on that property. And so that is it goes through a planning and zoning review process, which then makes a recommendation to town council, and then town council approves the permit. So there's a multiple step process, and it's being required for that. So they will not be able to get a building permit to install the structures unless they meet the requirements of that special use permit.
Okay,
And I appreciate it. I have constituents in the neighborhood asking, so I just wanted to make sure I addressed it. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
we do need to clarify, Mr. Sanderson, under conditions and precedent 31, it does say tenant agrees to work with the town of Alpine on traffic impact studies, utility plans, safety barrier designs, all that stuff at the tenant's sole cost. Are we covered as far as, in your opinion, requiring that in the next step, basically, if
Yes.
this? Okay, it's clear in your mind that that is something that's going to be
That they're
required.
required to do, yes.
Do we need to add something like when that needs to take place, or what time frame that needs to happen? Or it has to do with the special use permit?
The condition precedent is these things have to be done before the lease becomes effective.
Okay,
That's what the plain language of paragraph 31 is. So if those things aren't done, then the lease is not effective.
okay,
Can I just add to that?
yes.
You're talking to a mom who's constantly running at least 5 to 10 minutes late, so this traffic study is really important to me too.
Very good point. Something happened out on the highway today. I don't know if somebody dropped a load of gravel or something on the highway.
What a mess.
So we'll add that to the traffic study. Like, look what we can do when they dumped gravel out on the highway. Anyways, thank you for that comment. I think at this time, I want to open it up to the community for any public comment. Same thing, please. We'll try to keep it to around 3 minutes. I'm definitely going to try to give everyone as much grace as we can as far as time frame, but we're trying to keep within 3 minutes. And we have 6 people that have signed up to speak. If there's anyone that wants to speak, you will be after those 6 people. I'll open it up to everyone else. The first person on the list is Kathy Oceani. She's already gone. She's no longer here. Next person would be Melissa Rocklitz.
I don't have to necessarily go first. I know you were interested in going up.
Councilmember Larson, can you just watch 20 minutes for me? And we can go over 20 minutes, but I just want to make sure that we're not going too crazy. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council and friends and neighbors. I appreciate, I won't take too much time. I definitely won't take 3 minutes. Just a few points. One of the things that I think is interesting is I have a lot of friends that are interested in the school, and they have very young children. My daughter just turned 22 and moved to Philadelphia. So it seems like I have no skin in the game, but I think it's really important just for the growth of this town. I know that there are people that would like to have additional businesses that go on in town, but those businesses require employees. And a lot of employees are family people with small children. I know in my neighborhood, we just had a family move in. They have 3 children under 5 that could potentially be students at this school. They moved in the last 30 days. And another family just had their 3rd child. So there's definitely growth with the children in this town that would use the school potentially. The other thing that I think is very interesting, and I don't know how many people are video game people. I'm not, but you know, if you have a video game and you've got to build a town, if you don't have police or school, you're probably going to lose that game. So I feel like it is an important part of the growth of the town of Alpine, and I think that's about it.
Thank you.
Pretty simple. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
The next person is the letter N. I don't know if they got. I just have a letter N. It is the letter N. Want to say?
Prince? I don't know.
Oh no, it's like yeah. The next person on the list is Patricia McQuaid.
I have a couple questions about the lease. I read through it, and the first paragraph has the lease term. is for a term of 5 school years commencing on the first day of August 2026, and then ending on the 30th of June 2031, the expiration date. Both dates are inclusive unless some sooner terminated. So this lease isn't going to start until August of next year. And then paragraph 31, conditions of precedent, listed a number of items that have to happen. And so I'm just looking at this and thinking they cannot put those modular units over there until at least August 1st of next year.
So that's a good point of clarification, and I will stop your clock so we can try to answer those. Do we need this lease to be effective when it's
Well, you can't have it effective until these conditions precedent
right?
have happened.
Right.
So, I mean, that's an issue that the board and you guys need to figure out how you're going to get to that point. Where, I mean, you make a good point. Where are you gonna put these things until such date?
Well, we want them to be able to put the buildings over there when they do the conditions of precedent, and then, yeah, they need some time to build them.
Right, so, and it was Mr. Jenkins that kept insisting to put this for 5 school years, and, cause I had it written differently before. I think it needs to be changed so that it comes into, they can put them on there before the 5 school years starts.
What would you recommend?
I recommend that your lease term be changed. I don't know how long it takes. I'm not a contractor. How long it takes them to get all of their stuff ready to have that on there. So to me, it should start as
Once
soon
the
as it's
conditions
effective.
of
Right.
precedent are.
Exactly.
So how would you change the lease term language on the start date?
How would I change it?
Yes.
I would need a few minutes to
Okay.
think of how I would change that.
Okay.
And
May I recommend that perhaps the effective date of the building permit would also be a good time to make the lease effective?
okay, but you
Because
now-
they would have to, by then, if they're going to go through with it, they would have to by then have met all those terms
That's correct.
to get a building permit.
That's correct. Okay. So that's one way of resolving it, but you'll have to give me a few minutes
Yeah.
to go and sit.
That's fine. Is everyone else, understand? I think we need to make that change. That's a very good point. Thank you. I'll start your clock again.
Okay, so I'm just asking then that 5 school years, if they're not going to be able to start until all those conditions are met, and then they're going to start building, getting things ready, I would assume they're not going to be ready to start school in August of 2026.
That's their hope. Obviously, there's, most of the conditions are met. I think one of the final ones is the traffic impact study. Utility plans, things of that nature, they're going to work with whomever they need to figure out where they can put the buildings, obviously. Some research has to be done on that. I'm sorry, that may,
Questions.
yep.
Where does the liability lie if we don't have an actual lease in place the day that they're being set down in 2 weeks?
Well, just for clarification, we're not permitting them to bring the buildings and put it on that piece of property. There's another piece of property by the shop that we have designated as a temporary place for the building.
Property?
Town property for the buildings to go temporarily. They're not being installed there. And then until which time they can get the rest of the items on the conditions of precedent checked off the list. Obviously, they're motivated to get them done as soon
Well, I
as possible.
realize that, but the thing is, they're not going to have a lease, and they're going to have their buildings on town property. And I'm not okay with that.
Okay.
And I think that a lease should start as soon as they start putting stuff on town property.
Okay, thank you. Next is Megan Rumsey. Hi, Megan.
Megan
I'm
Ramsey, Alpine, Wyoming. Meredith, I do have a credible report stating what and what not those buildings could be used for. So the town of Jackson is buying the other 4 buildings. It expressly says, because these buildings have been moved at least 3 times, improved upon, had ice dams, had structural damage, the seller expressly disclaims and excludes any warranty of merchantability and any warranty of fitness for any particular purpose for these modulars. They're basically throwaways. And we would want to see your full inspection because there is credible evidence of mold in these buildings and mitigation for mold for buildings for kids to be in, where they've been ripped off of structures already. You're going to get these down here. If we have a lot of snow, are they even snow load capable? These buildings are not intended. They're not safe. It's a public nuisance. We were promised a stick building by Dave Jenkins. He's changed his story many, many times. And the 2 of you have needed to recuse yourselves. Your husband's sitting right there. Is he getting paid right now to be here? You guys don't know what one other hand is doing. And we're just tired of it. You're a banker. You're not stepping up. You're not talking about the fiduciary duty. And you, Andrea, of anybody, should be stepping up. You have a duty to this town. You're an outreach person that works for the Bank of Jackson Hole. And, Peter would agree. Mr. Lawton would agree. You have a fiduciary duty to the town, and you have broke that duty. All of you, in these lawsuits, of which we have decades, no, it's not one lawsuit, it's decades. This family that you had said that you vetted and wasted all of our time, the last lawsuit, they committed forgery, securities fraud. One sister was accused of drugging the other sister with naltrexone. And this lawsuit goes on. It's in settlement. It is not an allegation. This is a settled, you guys had this information. You did not share this information with us. We have lawyers who are salivating to get to all of this. And they've watched every little step of everything that you've done, including your attorney who also has had some trouble with the law. You've got, an unemployable attorney who's had 3 DUIs, who's just waltzing his way through this. And I'm just tired of it because, sorry if I sound firm, but I had to do all your homework for you along with a whole bunch of other people. So I'll just let you know, Academica is tied to Joe Ricketts. His arm of it is Civica. So if you want to just rename this town Little Jackson Hole, great job, because you can just change the name of the town to Renegade Airport. He already owns the big parcel up the Grays River. He's contiguously trying to get his land from Nebraska to Idaho. And if the big, beautiful bill passes, we have 3 million acres of land for sale. He can own most of the Grays River, encroach into Alpine. If you did your homework, you'd know that, again, you're welcoming in a wolf in sheep's clothing to Alpine. So at this point, we don't trust you. Your contract should be null and void. We're working with the Wyoming Charter State Authorizing Board to get your charter revoked. If we need to go to the Capitol, talk to Governor Gordon, we'll certainly do that. Dan Dockstader had told us to get on the agenda. I tried to get on the agenda because we'll be getting ink signatures in our petition, as we have a petition of over 300 people who are against you and your school. You have no credibility. You have no traffic study. You have no enrollment. You haven't even promised your own children. Dave's not here. Steve's not here. Rob Hagedorn's not here. I don't know. Can you tell us where Rob and Steve are? Because I know that you keep great tabs on them, Jeremy.
Ma'am,
So
just so you know, you're over 3 minutes. If you could wrap it
I'll
up.
wrap it up.
Thank
So
you.
if you want Joe Ricketts to come on into Alpine, great work. Once again, thank you. You're not thinking about the people who live here. You're turning this town into a resort.
Okay, thank you.
And those trailers should not touch land, and if they do, we're going to look at the Wyoming Supreme Court decision regarding TAMA, and we can get those attorneys involved regarding if something touches the ground, what happens then? So if you want to test the way that we believe that this charter is ultra vires void ab initio, you could ask your lawyer what that means, because there are some lawyers who do know what that means, and they're ready to make some calls.
Okay. Thank you. And so the last one I have on the list here is Heather Goodrich. Heather, how are we doing on time there?
8 minutes.
Left? Okay.
Hi,
Thanks.
Heather Goodrich, mother, Alpine resident, educator, 28 years. I just was thinking about, actually Megan just mentioned it. So I was on the call, the original Zoom call with the Wyoming Charter Authorizing Board, where they approved this application when it was APS. And they employed a third party that did a really good review of the application and gave, a list of things that needed to be done. For example, like an educator on the board, some things like that. So I guess my question is, now that we've literally changed everything, like there's nothing left that was in that original application except for the name of the school, how does that work? Like if it's a completely different school, completely different curriculum, completely different provider, that third-party review that happened is no longer applicable, so that's kind of
I think we could answer that real quick. Don't you have you're adjusting the application with do you mind coming up? Yeah.
Specifically, if you could talk about the third-party review, because that was really important.
Yeah, could you update us with where it stands with the state charter authorizing board?
Yes, so we had a meeting with them last night, and they were working through basically like the legal structure of how it would work with the way that charters are operate, and the way that they function is a little bit unique in the sense that not all of them are like APA and APS, where it's kind of all under one hat. Academica is a service provider for all kinds of schools, from STEM schools to STEAM schools to classical schools. So they come in, the way I described it to my husband is like they're the GC, and they'll build any type of house. And the curriculum, which is the same, which is what the parents are focused on, is very similar to APA. The classical education, focusing on truth, beauty, the transcendentals. And the authorizing board agrees with us that our curriculum is the same. What we're doing is just working through the legal structure of how that would all work.
Okay, and has there been, you've met with them, have they made a decision, or is that still up in the air?
They made a decision last night to move forward, allow us to move forward while the lawyers are talking, basically.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other public comments? Yep.
Hi there, Justin Scott, Alpine resident. I've got a 13-year-old daughter who will never go to school up here, which is fine. She loves riding the bus. She loves Star Valley. The education is great, so that's all fine and good. My one question here in looking at your plans is there's maybe 4 acres of property that we're going to put modulars on. And then there's talk of rebuilding. So rebuilding to me means that you're not going to stop education and tear down those modulars and put up a school. The only other option is more land to build a larger school. So think about what you're doing here. It's not 4 acres. It could be the 20 acres that was proposed a year ago. So to me, that's a little bit interesting that we're building modulars. We wanted to build a beautiful school in the last presentation. That's not happening. If the school's successful, great, but then the town is going to be asked for more land, which to me I disagree with, in giving town property to for-profit entities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? I can address that really quick. If anyone has just a little history, this really never got legs as far as being on town property until they went to the modulars and the 5-year lease. So I've been totally open and said it many times on the record that I do not see this as a long-term solution. And I've told the foundation board that if this gets approved tonight or in the near future, we are going to support them however we can, but they need to go and find a permanent location for their school, because this is not going to be the permanent location. This is a 5-year lease, and the reason why we're doing that is so we don't bind future administrations. Now,
So-
that's not to say future administrations won't make a different determination. It also has to do with the master plan. They may say, they need to put their school some other location. But
Okay, so.
at this point, this is a temporary.
Okay, so to answer that, okay, we put up a temporary unit, master plan comes through, we have these buildings that we don't use, we have to somehow reclimate that area and use it for whatever comes 5 years from now. Again, my suggestion is, if you want a for-profit entity, buy your own land and put that on your own private land, so you can do with it whatever you like.
Just to clarify, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but the foundation is not a for-profit foundation. It's
But the school, somebody is gonna be making money off of this school being on town land.
Yes, the teachers will make money. People make money. That's how you get good quality people. You entice them. You bring them in. You incentivize them. And reclaim the land. That land is a dirt pile. We would be happy to reclaim it back to a dirt pile.
Excuse me, miss, that is not your land. That is the town's land, and you're asking for town land.
They're also making improvements to it, so that's part of.
Yes, we're bringing utilities to it. We're bringing landscaping. We're bringing some vision.
Okay,
If
we've had discussion.
Okay, so anyways, we're just trying to answer that one question.
But can I just clarify that also? So the Alpine Education Foundation is a non-profit. We do not profit from this. Who does profit from this is Academica. And the reason that it's important that they profit from this is because they are putting resources into helping the school operate. It's the same way that the school district runs. They are able to manage their budget, and if they have excess, that goes back into other resources. So it's a very similar structure, but when we hear for-profit, that is a good thing. That means that we have people invested in this because they have skin in the game, and then it allows us to hold them accountable if they are not doing their jobs.
Okay, thank you. It looks like Megan might have one more quick comment, and then we'll get back. Mr. Larson, where do we stand?
8 seconds.
Oh, okay, really quick.
Okay, for anyone who doesn't understand how charter schools work, and unfortunately, you guys don't understand the structure of charter schools, I can draw you a diagram. There's no such thing as a nonprofit charter school. So you have your foundation, but generally what happens, if you go and you look in the malignancy of the malfeasance of the misappropriated tax dollar money, which APS misappropriated something around $10 million, arguably, we can. Right, I understand that, but you were willing to until only about
Do you
a
have
month
something
ago.
quick to-
I certainly do.
Okay.
Anyone can look up the article. It's called Chartered for Profit. It will explain to you how there is no such thing as a nonprofit. Now, our dirt pile might just be a dirt pile to you because you don't actually live in Alpine, and all of you listed Alpine addresses. That's not factual information. So again, let's get some factual information for the public to present where you actually live. And these are stakeholders who pay taxes in Alpine, and we will fight every single point of this, and we're not going to be disrespected by you calling it a dirt pile, because that is our asset for our town that's in fiscal insolvency right now. And a few people who are doing 8th grade math and are not appraisers are brokering deals with breweries and coming up with 1989 figures for the valuation of things. And that's going to come into question too, because every single transaction that's ever gone through the town of Alpine is going to be forensically audited.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the end of public comment. Time's up, right?
Time's up.
Okay, time's up. Now, we'll move on to the rest of the discussion. Looks like Ms. Scafidi might have something Councilmember Burchard, did you have something you wanted to add to the, do you have anything to add about your husband being on the board?
I do. I would
Okay.
like to make my official disclaimer that my husband, David Burchard, as a sitting board member of the Alpine Charter School, will be receiving no compensation financially at all for his work he does. He will be joining many other local tradesmen donating their time to this very valuable project.
Okay. Councilmember Scafidi, did you have something you wanted to add? I saw you go off of mute.
Yeah, I mean, until you just mentioned it, I did not know that temporarily they'll be sitting on public land. So I guess this is a question for Jim. It's kind of like renters insurance. If something was to happen to the modulars, will they have insurance to cover that in this 9-month, 10-month period before they're set at the final location?
Just to clarify, I don't know how soon the school buildings are going to go on to their temporary foundation, but it has to go through the special use permit and all that stuff. Hopefully that.
Where they're getting delivered in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so, but hopefully it's sooner than 9 months. I think, as far as insurance, are the buildings insured? Yes. Okay, the buildings are insured.
I think the part for me to clarify, just because I think everyone's digesting a lot of data here, one of the things is, yes, on the for-profit versus not-for-profit. One thing I do know, Alpine people are paying extra, actually the entire state of Wyoming is paying extra for the lease amount. And I haven't heard if that's $200,000 a year. I'm not sure how the state charter board calculates it, but that is money in addition that comes from our taxes across the state. So that's what supplements the budget for the charter school, just to make it clear for everyone. It may not be from our mill levy, but it is from our property taxes that go to the state. Other than that, I just, wanted to clarify just location for temporary and then how that plays out with the lease, as Jim said, that dynamic.
Okay, just to clarify that, where is the location that you and Dave worked out where the temporary buildings would be?
Just right beside the old shop.
Beside the old shop, near the big parking lot, essentially, right? Kind of the furthest eastern part of the parking lot. Okay.
Way down by the ball field?
No, just right, you would pull in as if you were going to the shop and it would be, and take a left.
Okay, so in the sagebrush, like in the area?
Pretty much in the sagebrush, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna put them there. I mean, are we having to dig out roads for them to come in, or?
No, they're on wheels, so they just get rolled in there and temporarily put into that location. What is going on with Mr. Sanders?
He is making edits to the lease. And he did tell me to let you know, Shay, that he will require them to have insurance on them in the edits he's making now.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate it. For both parties, I think it just makes everyone.
No, it does. Good point.
Perfect. At this point, I think I would recommend a 5-minute recess and let's figure out this lease and finalize that, and then we'll make sure everyone here, we'll send it to Shay, and we'll make sure that everyone has a final read on it. So I'll recommend a 5-minute recess. Okay, we're back in session now. Seeing as though we're still making some adjustments to the lease, we are considering pushing the vote back till a little bit later in the meeting. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to suspend while council works on the lease. Yeah,
Until later on in this meeting?
until later on in this meeting.
Okay. We have a motion,
Second.
and it's been seconded. Any discussion? Council members Scafidi, do you understand what the motion is? Just basic? Yeah, we're just going to push it back just an agenda item or two, just because we need to give Jim a chance to finalize some of the edits.
So do we look at, I feel like we keep editing agreements with the charter board, or I'm sorry, the Alpine board last minute. Is there any way to actually like freshly look at this? It makes me very nervous, just constantly editing dynamics late in the game.
Okay. Understand, and we hear your comment. All those in favor of said motion to delay the vote till later on in this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we're going to move on down here, and actually, we would like to, we've got Kevin, is he outside?
I told him to come in.
Okay. Okay. Since we've got the rest of that group here, we might as well talk to them. Can we get a motion on the Jorgensen Engineering recommendation?
Make a motion to approve Jorgensen Engineering's recommendation to enter in a contract with Snake River MEP to finish the wastewater pretreatment plant's electrical, plumbing, pipe fitting, and control integration systems.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Councilmember Scafidi, we're just kind of jumping to the end of the list there since we have some people here. Let's see. This is regarding the mess we're in down at the pretreatment plant. The previous subcontractor basically hasn't showed up since, what was it, February 25th or something like that. Jorgensen has made a recommendation to us. Kevin has been attended every meeting since this project started with Jorgensen and been pushing along in an effort to get us over the finish line. Jorgensen has come up with this recommendation. And Kevin, if you don't mind, I know you've been over there since day one. Can you just walk us through your recommendation really quick?
Yeah, so now that we know the Precision Electric is not coming back, we started looking for another contractors. Mountain West Mechanical was their sub-consultant or subcontractor for the mechanical side. Brian Hill said that he would definitely come back and work for the town, but that's been 3 months ago. And he said since then his schedule has been filled up. He went from working 4 10-hour days to 6 10-hour days. So he was like, the soonest he could get here to help would be a few months from now. He said he's very willing to come in and help for half a day or a day to help go through the systems with any other contractor that we've got. We talked to Kevin Asno, who's the electrician service technician or group that y'all use for a lot of different pieces parts. He said he has availability this summer to actually help out as well on that. But he's an electrical company contractor. We called Snake River MEP, who's out of Jackson. They're an electrical, mechanical, and plumbing contractor, and they have a window right now that they have people. So that's why I pushed the recommendation for y'all to look at and consider would be Snake River MEP, because they have all the people at this point that could push this over the top. And they do have experience with the Jackson Hole Airport mechanical sewer system.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. And it says they could start on June 23rd?
Yes.
Okay.
And both Kevin Asno and Snake River MEP are here tonight if you have any questions for them.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin?
No, good report.
Thanks, Kevin. I think this is so important that we get this over the finish line. We do have both people here. I definitely understand. I guess one question for you, Kevin. If we did hire Servant Electric, what would we end up having to do to get the mechanical finished?
We'd have to find a mechanical contractor.
Okay. Or wait a couple months to get...
I would say several months before they would come back, yes. There's not a lot of mechanical left. I mean, the change order that they had was $17,000, and there's a little bit more to that, so there's probably $20,000 to $30,000 worth of work left on the mechanical.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. If you don't mind, Mr. Rommel, do you mind coming up? I'm sure you're here to represent your company. All right. Thanks. We have Casey Rommel here. You've been to the job site?
I have.
And do you understand the scope or have an understanding of what the scope is in general?
I have a very general at this point. Kevin and I have kind of discussed maybe we bring, the guys that supplied the equipment in early and late so that we are all on the same page as far as what their scope of work, what they're expecting this to be done, so we have clear direction going forward. It appears to be a pretty good job. So we're hoping that we're not going to run into any problems, but until we roll up our sleeves and actually, get into the weeds, it's very difficult to see that at this point.
And in your experience, you didn't see anything that gives you pause, or I don't know. You've done projects similar to this in the past,
Correct.
obviously.
There's nothing there that can't be fixed. And like I say, it appears to be a pretty quality job.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Rommel?
And you can start right away with the full team?
Yeah, we're actually just finishing up at Classical Academy, so we've kind of got a lull in between jobs. This hits perfectly for our timing to potentially start Monday if you guys are ready to move on it.
And how many people would you put on it?
We could ramp up to 8. Kind of want to just start with 2, kind of get our heads wrapped around it, figure out what the scope of work is, and then adjust accordingly. So it's the most efficient for you guys.
But you're willing to ramp up as much as needed to get the project done as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're kind of just shooting from the hip without knowing what's there. Their piece appears to be about 3 weeks to a month's worth of work, and we'll adjust manpower loading according to that.
Be amazing. Any other questions for Casey? Since we have him, Kevin, do you mind coming up, asking you a few questions? Thanks, Casey. Yeah. So we also have Kevin Asno. Kevin has done extensive work for the town of Alpine. Mm-hmm. You've been to the job site as well?
Yes.
Yeah. And looked at the plans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have all the plans, reviewed all that.
And you didn't see anything that was difficult in your opinion to finish?
No, I mean, it's hard to tell where things are actually terminated since they had apprentices doing it.
Yeah.
There was only a couple mysteries that we observed in the walkthrough, nothing that looked too terrible.
Yeah. There's going to be ramping up time for everybody, and kind of circling back, there's going to be a fair amount of time just spent trying to figure out what another contractor did.
For sure.
So that's totally understandable. And obviously you'd be willing to work with whatever mechanical company that we brought in.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worked with most of them.
I'm sure you have. Any questions for Kevin? Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Any other discussion? The motion we have on the table is to hire Snake River MEP to finish the wastewater pretreatment plant. I feel totally comfortable hiring them. To hear it could be done in a month makes me salivate. Like, I can't even imagine.
That's where, like I'd say to Kevin, I know your work, it's great work, but that's where we just got to get it done.
And it's a one-stop shop, basically, is my feeling. Any other discussion? Do you mind turning on your microphone?
Yes.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of said motion to hire Snake River MEP to finish the wastewater pretreatment plant, I'm just going to do the whole thing. All those in favor of motion to approve Jorgensen Engineering's recommendation to enter into a contract with Snake River MEP to finish the wastewater pretreatment plant's electrical, plumbing, pipe fitting, and control integration systems, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Cross off the list. Thank you. Thank you for both being here, and look forward to seeing you on Monday, Casey. I don't know where we stand with Mr. Sanderson, but let's. Do we have another motion that you feel comfortable doing that?
If you want to
Would
start
take
with
all night?
aye.
I'm sorry?
Aye. Citizen.
That'd be great.
Okay. Make a motion to approve citizen serve contract and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. Madam Clerk, can you just give us a real quick synopsis what this software does, how it will benefit the town, things of that nature?
Yeah, so this software provides interactive opportunities for both our citizens and our staff to be able to, rather than go out and do an inspection and then come back and write a report, it allows all of that to happen kind of simultaneously. It'll allow citizens to file reports more effectively, and specifically those will go right to the codes enforcement officer and right into that program and be recorded. It'll allow codes enforcement to do all of their official letters, all their official notifications right from the program. It will improve planning and zoning processes. It'll be interactive to allow for those of us in the office who have various stages of approval through a permitting process, and our codes building inspector,
Yep.
Public Works Director, myself as the person who signs the permits, planning and zoning, who does site plans, all of those pieces will be able to be independently reviewed through the process and just pushed forward. So it's going to make everybody a little more effective.
Does it also streamline building, business
licenses, dog and cat licenses, and it'll allow for Public Works to do water and sewer connection processes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions? We've
talked a lot about this.
Yes.
We've gone through it.
Yeah, it's split between 7 different various budgets,
Yeah.
independent departments. So
It's been discussed at length.
Yeah.
I think we all know.
yeah, and there is a savings piece to it, because what we're utilizing now, once this is up and running, will be able to be canceled.
Yeah.
So there is a money savings option.
Component.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilmember Scafidi, I just want to make sure you have a chance to ask any questions before we take a vote. Okay. Any other discussions? All those in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. I don't know if Shay got her vote. Maybe she's abstaining.
No, I said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Okay, thank you. Okay, motion carries. Mr. Sanderson, how are we looking?
I just sent you 2 versions, one that's a clean copy and one that has the changes in red.
The edits? Okay. Let's go back to that. I guess let's get a motion to put that back on the table.
make a motion to re-review, allowing the town of Alpine to enter into a lease agreement with the Alpine Education Foundation, Inc., and authorize Mayor Green to sign.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded. Any discussion? And this is just to put it back on the table, so everyone knows.
It was never off the table.
Okay, it's never off the table? Okay. I'm sorry.
Resume
It was
discussions.
Okay.
resumed.
Okay, so we're here to resume. So we're going to vote on resuming the discussion. All those in favor of resuming, said motion to resume the discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, I think that was an aye. I'm sorry, I'm trying to land a lot of planes right here, but we'll get, this looks like the clean version. And let's just look at that's the addendum.
That's not required anymore.
Okay. Is this the clean version here?
That's the clean version. You just received one that has all the changes in that. So it should be another email.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Here we go. Can you just walk us through these real quick?
So in order to address the issue of the term of the lease, I changed the lease term subject to the conditions precedent contained in paragraph 31 of this lease agreement. So let's go down to 31. What are the conditions precedent? So they have to provide a complete business plan, including the financials. They agree to work with the town on a traffic impact study at their cost. They agree to complete and pay for replatting, that they will submit proposed drawings and elevations of all structures for review and approval. They pay all water and sewer connection fees and installation. They agree in writing that the town shall have no financial, human capital, or in-kind contribution costs towards the tenant or its operations. They agree to allow one representative of the Alpine Council as a member on their educational foundation board. And then I added H, in the event that any temporary structure is placed or stored on town of Alpine property, satisfactory completion of conditions A through G, and issuance of an official building permit, the tenant shall ensure the structures against damage and or loss, and hereby agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the town of Alpine and its employees for any loss or injury to persons or properties which may result from the placement of the temporary structures on town of Alpine property. So go back to the terms. So once all of those are met, that starts the first date of the commencement of the lease will be when the building permit is issued and go for a period of 5 years. That will be the term of the lease. In case there's some delays, there is a provision in section 32 or paragraph 32 that allows it to be extended for a period of 1 school year, beginning at the commencement of regular class schedule in August of a school year and terminating at the end of a regular class schedule in June of the following year, upon approval of the governing body of the town of Alpine. So there's your term of the lease. I added in that if upon surrender or termination of the lease, no later than 120 days after the termination of the lease, the tenant at its cost shall remove the building and or structures from the property. I also added that into default and added the condition of default is failure to, that's on paragraph 13, failure to comply with the conditions precedent as contained in paragraph 31. But I also added that if they are in default, they have 120 days, or if they're insolvent, their creditor or bankruptcy trustee has 120 days to remove the structures from the property and pay all costs associated with the removal of those structures. So that should cover the issues
that we have discussed tonight. I know Dave isn't here, but would someone from your organization be willing to approve those? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think that we're good with those changes.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
And just to clarify, the term, we want to make sure you have 4 school years. It seems like this will give you 4 school years and then an option for 1 more year. So that was the best way that Mr. Sanderson came up with that. But it sounds like they're on board. So anyone here at the table have any questions or comments about those changes?
Thanks, Jim.
Councilmember Scafidi, were you able to see those changes?
Yeah, I've got them open in front of me.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think, and I want to be very respectful of the charter board, as I think Kathy mentioned as well. I reached out to WAM, which is the Wyoming Association of Municipalities, and I asked, I spoke with them, and they sent me this wonderful data that said the 3 fiduciary responsibilities of a town council. The 3 duties of a board or officers, the town council, is the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of good faith. The duty of care requires that town council act with the care of an ordinarily prudent person in a like position would exercise under the circumstances. The duty of loyalty requires officers or board members to put the interests of the town above their own personal interests. And finally, the duty of good faith requires that town council members not make ostrich-like decisions that demonstrate deliberate indifference to a potential risk or harm to the town. And as I read those, I just want to make it very clear. Of course, we are all for a school. Of course, I'm a parent of 2 young adults. I think what's difficult is, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but this piece of dirt is worth about $3 million. And I don't need to keep going back to what land is worth, but as we face a very difficult budget season, which none of us asked for, it is hard to see a lease of $1 a year for 3 acres, 4 acres of land when the potential charter board will be getting $200,000 a year in lease money, which of course I would love to see go back into the school and to help it. But I think that balance, as we battle our own budget, it's like borrowing from your neighbor to donate to someone else. And so I think I just want to put that on the record of why, if I ever sound less than positive, it is only from that point of view. It is only for the town, not personal anything on my part. It's just trying to navigate this. So thank you for that.
Thanks. I think we're close to taking a vote. Did you have anything else you would like to add, Councilmember Scafidi, before we?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add?
I just kind of want to add that this lease is a piece of the puzzle. The charter board still has many other steps to complete with the state board, with completing the everything that we've asked them to do. This is just a step moving in the direction. This isn't finalizing anything, and they are moving in a positive way, and I'm really proud of them, and I hope that this can continue to move forward.
Councilmember Larson, do you have anything to add?
It's very apparent that we have, those 4 traditional public education and those, I don't even necessarily say pro-charter. The charter allows us to think outside the box because as the town of Alpine, we've been trying to get a school here since the town of Alpine existed. So much so that in 2020, we sued the Lincoln County number 2 and lost. And in our talks with Lincoln County number 2, it's apparent that best case scenario, we'll have a school here 10, maybe 12 years. I've seen too many families not move here or move away from here because that is not an option for them. I would love traditional Lincoln County #2 school to prop right down there. You know, you ask the forefathers of Alpine, they're like, no, that was meant to be for a school. You look at the lawsuit. The deal was made with Lincoln County #2 for up to 10 acres if they would put a school there, the Etna, what is now Etna Elementary. This is a way to attract and retain families in Alpine. You may not like it, and that's fine. Your kids don't have to go there. That's the beautiful thing about that. They can go to Jackson, they can go to Afton or Thane, but this gives a chance for people of Alpine and our surrounding area to have a school. And a school is an economic incubator. A school will be an economic boost for the town. It is just that. It's an economic incubator. I hope that you guys succeed and you're able to find the piece of parcel that builds that permanent home and you become the pride of Alpine. That is my hope. I look for solutions. And this is the only solution I see to provide a school for the town of Alpine. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I guess I'll just end by saying the lease amount for $1 a year, just to make sure we're all on the same page, that's in line with the library, the CDC, the fire department that are all on town-owned properties. So that's how we arrived at that number. But Councilmember Larson said it well. It brings more than just money. I don't know what the value is of that piece of property, but I think having a school on it makes it very valuable. And it's definitely going to bring more to the community than just dollars. That's for sure. No matter what happens in this vote, I think we still need to be pushing Lincoln County School District to go through the process and push for a Mercer study to happen. We also need to push our local state representatives to change the Mercer process because it is broken. We have seen that firsthand. So I would encourage, and maybe this happens from this town council, we will vote on this, but we also write an open letter to the Lincoln County School District, to our state representatives, to the people at the state level, and say, this is broken. We had to take this step to try to get a school because it's not working. So I'd like to see us keep trying to attack the problem several different ways. This is, in my mind, it's a short-term solution that could turn into a long-term solution. And wishing nothing but the best, and we hope that you fill that school as soon as possible, and it's a huge success. And then, again, you guys, this is just a stepping stone. You go on and make other arrangements where you could put a permanent school. I hope that happens. So nothing but we wish you all the luck in the world. I'm comfortable with the changes that Mr. Sanderson made. Does anyone else have any other questions?
If so, I'd like to make a motion to amend.
Okay.
Make a motion to amend and adopt all changes made by council.
Second.
We have a motion of amendment and a second discussion. Mr. Sanderson has already gone over all the changes. Those are obviously the ones you're referring to, and we have them in red up here on the screen, and Councilmember Scafidi should be able to see those as well. Any other discussion? All those in favor of said amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Back to the original motion for the lease. I'm going to make sure I've got it. Here we go. Okay. All those in favor of motion to allow Town of Alpine to enter into a lease agreement with the Alpine Education Foundation, Inc. and authorize Mayor Green to sign it, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will be getting this.
I know I'm out of line, but I hope you enjoy your modulars over our piece of dirt.
Okay. Anyways, thank you for coming, everyone. You're more than welcome to stay. We have a lot of great things on the agenda, but I don't blame you if you want to leave. But anyways, thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Who's your primary contact? Can I get their phone and email for representatives?
You guys, all their information's on your foundation board website, or?
They won't give that information, Eric. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Okay. Let's go on back to our agenda. Ordinance number 2025-009, amended budget for fiscal year 2025 on third reading.
Make a motion to approve third reading ordinance number 2025-009, amended budget for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Okay. Let me go back up. Madam Clerk Treasurer. If you guys don't mind taking it outside, please, we're just going to keep going. Thank you.
You can do it outside.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk Treasurer, yeah, I know you made a few last-minute adjustments, but not so much on the fiscal year 2025.
No, in the general fund budget, the primary changes were to the 2025 budget, just cleaning that up as I was able to really gauge what was actually coming in this fiscal year versus next fiscal year. Probably one of the bigger changes that was made since the last reading on this budget, though, was that the non-recourse loan for the Melvin project, they told me the other day it's not actually due till January of next year. It's 0% interest. We're earning about 4%, so I shifted it in from one fiscal year to the other. We might as well earn 4% before we give them their money back.
While we can. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Great.
So, but pretty much,
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone up here have any questions for the Clerk Treasurer?
No, looks good. We've
We
met.
went through, several budget meetings and looked at every line on this, and I'm very comfortable with it. Thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. You put in a ton of extra time on that, so we really appreciate it. Councilmember Scafidi, do you have anything to add before we take a vote? No. Okay. All those in favor of ordinance number 2025-009, amended budget for fiscal year 2025 on third reading, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Ms. Scafidi, do you have a vote? Or you? Okay, sorry. I just can't hear it. I'm sorry. Ordinance carries on third reading. I'm sorry. I just couldn't hear you. I want to make sure we can all hear it. Okay, so next, do we have the next one up?
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-010, budget for the federal year 2026, third reading. Fiscal year, third reading.
Second.
So we have a motion. It's been seconded.
I'm sorry.
Did it sound all right?
2025 or 2026?
2026.
Okay.
Okay. I think he had it right, but do you want to try it one more time just to make sure everybody goes? Please.
Motion to approve on third reading ordinance number 2025-010 for budget for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
That sounded right. All right. We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Same thing. Madam Clerk Treasurer, you ended up moving that non-recourse loan into this budget.
Yeah, and I think the probably most the biggest consideration in the 2026 budget is the understanding that both the water fund and the sewer fund, I did project increases to rates being necessary. Water was evaluated at a 15% increase, and wastewater was evaluated at a 25% increase. However, we are still in the process, the finalization of looking at the rates and the restructuring and the redrafting of the ordinance. So those numbers aren't final, but I'm pretty comfortable that there will be a rate increase. How our kind of goal is to shift some of the way that we're billing so that our local single-family homeowners aren't bearing the brunt of that. That's what we're working on.
Right. And this will come after the studies that we have currently going on.
Correct. So we do anticipate Todd from Raftellus joining us at our July 1st meeting. He's going to have some really great information about the impact and capacity fee studies that he's done. He's done some really good work. He's actually, because yes, there's still money in the budget, and it's been pretty productive, and so he's doing a 10-year
There's money in his budget.
His
for-
budget,
yes.
yeah, for what,
This-
from the project that he's able to do a forward look at what we're going to need. And he's going to be able to give us some ideas when he comes on the 1st about how we get there in the future as well. He's also touched base with us on some of our utility billing restructuring that we're looking at doing as well. So he's just been a fabulous resource, big help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the capacity fees are clearly going to be necessary in addition to connection fees, and then the regular fees. I do project connection fees will go down in response to adding capacity fees, but that's not going to make it less expensive. It's just going to be it's just going to be billed differently, tracked differently, spent differently.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Well, and since you've been here, we're tracking everything at a much more micro level. So
yes,
we're hopefully, we know where all the money is going in each little bucket. And I hope that all these studies that we're putting into place really pay off in the long run and help us plan for the future and figure out how to start planning for all this stuff.
And that was the mantra over the last year and a half is, we joked at times that this was going to be the years of the study. We're doing a lot. We did a lot of studies, and they're finally producing some really valuable information to allow us to set the town of Alpine up for the future.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you again for all your hard work on that. Councilmember Scafidi, do you have anything to add before we take a vote?
No, not but thank you for all the time and effort.
Yeah, helped us out immensely. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of ordinance number 2025-010, budget for fiscal year 2026 on third reading, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'm sorry. Abstain, okay. I'll get this, I'm only 2.5 years in. Anyways,
It doesn't help that I'm not there, so
yeah. Yeah. Okay, it sounded like it was 3 with 1 abstain. Okay. So that means the ordinance carried on third reading. Okay. Sounds good. Now we're on to mill levies.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-020, mill levy fiscal year 2026.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Madam Clerk, could you give us just a quick history on this?
By state statute, the town of Alpine is able to levy up to 8 mills in property taxes for the citizens of Alpine. However, the town of Alpine has chosen to transfer 3 of their mills to the Alpine Fire District to allow them to operate as the firefighting entity in the town of Alpine. So the maximum that the town of Alpine may collect from its citizens is 5 mills, and that's what we've been doing.
Tell me why we're doing this.
And that's what's budgeted.
the town of Alpine has never done this? Or
What?
do we do it every?
We do it every year.
Okay. At this
Yes.
time for
Yes.
fiscal year? Okay.
Yeah, because I have to send it to the county clerk.
Okay. Thank
Put
you.
on their tax.
Thank you for clarifying that.
It's just a process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another check in a box.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 2025-020 mill levy fiscal year 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I heard it. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Resolution carries. Next, we have H.
Motion to, sorry. Oh, you're right.
Don't jump.
Motion to approve resolution number 2025-023, authorizing the town of Alpine to apply for an Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act grant.
And?
We have a motion.
And?
Oh.
Oh, sorry. And authorize Mayor Green to sign.
Second.
Oh, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Madam Clerk, can you give us a little history on this one?
Yes, so the grant manager with Lincoln County, she had forwarded me some information about the grant that they are utilizing for their match in their Safe Streets for All grant. So this organization will provide our match. It's a $300,000 grant, and it is, I believe, our portion was $60,000, correct, Sarah?
Yeah.
And so we're applying for a $60,000 grant to pay our match.
Sounds great.
Yes,
And
hopefully
you
we're
also got
successful.
information that the Safe Streets for All funds
It should be opened up
should be unfrozen soon.
before the end of our fiscal year. So I did budget for to spend the entire money because I don't really know when it will be unfrozen,
Yeah.
but
No, this is great.
we're hopeful.
Yes. Let's go for more money, more grant money. Any more discussion on this? All right. Did I lose it? Okay, here we go. All those in favor of resolution number 2025-023, authorizing the town of Alpine to apply for an Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act grant and authorize Mayor Green to sign, say aye.
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 Aye. I heard it. Opposed? None. Thank you. Resolution carries. Next is K.
J.
J.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-022, a resolution adopting the updated employee policy and procedure manual.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Madam Clerk, this is something that we've been working on quite a while.
Yes.
And hopefully town council has had, this isn't the first time you've seen this. We've been working on it for a while. I do want to make sure that, do we have to make any changes based on conversation we had earlier tonight?
Yes. And so there was no decision made in executive session on employee issues. However, there was conversation about making an addition to the policy and procedure update to add that we are going to add a short-term disability policy to the employee benefit package. The town of Alpine will contribute 80% and the employees will contribute 20%, consistent with the town of Alpine health insurance contributions. And that the town of Alpine will, as part of the changing from vacation and sick time to a PTO policy, that the amount of money that currently, I don't want to say it wrong, all vacation balance will push into the new PTO.
Right.
All sick time balances that exist for the employees will be broken down in the following way. Half of it, so they will only be eligible to keep 50%. This is making me nervous.
Yes, okay, maybe I
You wanna
can
go ahead?
help you with this.
Yeah.
So, of the balance that the employees
Yes.
have on sick time, they will be converting half of it
Yes.
into, we'll allow them to convert half of it, okay? Of that half of that will be cash. The other half will be converted into PTO. So essentially, of your hours, all the employees that have sick time right now, you'll be getting cash for 25%.
Yes.
25% of the value of that based on your hourly
Mm-hmm.
wage and however that works. And then 25% is going in directly to PTO. So our effort.
To be spent in 2 years.
Yeah, and so the thought behind this is we're going to give you some money and
you're
then
gonna
some
go on
vacation time,
vacation.
and we want you to go on that vacation in 2 years. Okay? So you better come up with some big plans, I guess. But that's what we decided. Does this document have that in there? It hasn't been updated, correct?
So all the PTO, all the policies were updated. What isn't in there was the addition of a short-term disability policy, which you can do by motion, and I can update this for next meeting. And there is nothing, I don't think, that we need to do for the policy.
Do you think
for what we're doing with the
Do you
sick
think it's a
time?
good idea just to put this on the table until July 1st, where we can make these changes and bring it in front of town council one more time?
So I can do that.
Yeah, I would recommend that at this point.
But then nothing's going to be effective until August 1st
And our goal here tonight was to try and get this
for
effective.
July, I'm looking.
Yeah, the calendar's
it's
up there.
over that. Yeah, but that's fine.
How will that affect us?
I mean.
Just in your.
They'll just accumulate one more month's worth
Yeah.
of, or a few more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just maintain the current policy until which time it becomes effective, that's all. So I think we'll go ahead.
Okay, let's do that.
And we can do all that. I can add this short-term disability and the criteria, and all that, and I can just bring it back to you, and we'll make it effective for September 1st.
August 1st.
Or August 1st, excuse me, yeah.
Okay.
August 1st, yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Do we have a motion then?
Make a motion to table resolution number 2025-022, resolution adopting the updated employee policy and procedure manual.
Second.
We have a motion to table, and it's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of motion to table, say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Opposed? Hearing none? Motion to table. We are now on to K, it looks like.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve Service Missionary Volunteer Memorandum of Understanding and authorize Mayor Green to sign.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Discussion. Madam Clerk, give us a real quick, where'd this come from?
So the church approached us. They have members throughout the valley that help service, that provide volunteer service to, they provided to Thane, Afton, I
Many
believe Star Valley
municipalities,
Ranch.
businesses.
Yeah, and so when they first approached us, in truth, there wasn't really, I didn't see a real need for it. However, we're in the process of just doing some cleanup work with files and scanning and then putting them away. So we thought that's something that
They reached
they
out
could
to you
do.
and said we would
Yes.
offer up
Yes.
someone's services.
somebody can come once a week on Mondays and help us if we have something for them to do.
Right, and we're not paying them.
We're not
They're
paying
just, it's
them.
a service that they're
Yeah.
Okay.
free, volunteer.
Okay, does anyone have any questions regarding that?
If it's for free, it's for me.
Yes.
My question was, I'm a little nervous on private data of the town. Like, do they sign an NDA? Or what's the dynamic there? Because they're seeing town paperwork that could have residents' info on it. I guess that's my question.
Okay.
It's all public record.
Public record.
So, I mean, in the event that anybody would walk in the door and say, I want to see the permit for 123, you know,
It's specific.
Outbound Street, then I have to give it to them. I have to make a copy or allow them to open the record and review it.
Yeah. To clarify, they're not going to be dealing with any sensitive employee
No,
information or-
they're not doing anything like in water billing or any of those sort of things or employee files. And so we're talking about scanning permit files, Shay.
Yeah, just like the old permit files and things of that nature, so.
Helping us go paperless.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Get rid of some
The-
old
And the new
filing
systems, the new system that we're getting is part of that, and this should just help clean up what we still have.
Yep.
But we'll be careful about making sure it's all public information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a very valid point, thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor of said motion approving the Service Missionary Volunteer Memorandum of Understanding and authorize Mayor Green to sign it, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, abstain. Sounds good. Motion carries. Looks like last on our list is the first reading of the Land Use Development Code.
Make a motion to approve first reading ordinance number 2025-011, Land Use and Development Code.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Madam Clerk, I know there's kind of some reasons why this is coming up. It wasn't necessarily on our radar, but there's a few things that we thought were real important to get figured out. Which one of these is the changes? You made changes to the table of contents. And procedures. Did everyone have a chance just to scan through these? Okay. Article 4, development standards. A lot of these are suggestions from DJ, our building official.
This is things that Gina's been working on,
Yeah.
yes.
These were all mainly driven
By
that-
DJ.
By DJ, yes, our building official. So, and as we've already discussed, we have the planning and zoning chairperson here and still here in the back. She's already told us that their commission is going to be working on additional changes. If you don't get a chance to get them in, we'll look at your changes as soon as possible as well. If we don't want you to hurry or rush yourselves.
I'm on section 2 anyway, that's my
Okay.
office, and then sectioned up, so
Okay.
I'll make sure to just go through it.
Okay. And we also have the change for the recommendation. We have their recommendation from the planning and zoning here. I just want to make sure that we cover, and Councilmember Scafidi will probably appreciate this. Where is it, the electrical, where did we, what section is that in?
2-304A. Electrical permits and inspection for projects within the town of Alpine are issued and conducted by the Wyoming Department of Fire Prevention and Electrical Safety. The homeowner or contractor is responsible for obtaining the appropriate permit and ensuring that all required inspections are completed. 1, a copy of the approved wiring permit and any associated inspection reports must be submitted to the town before the issuance of certificate of occupancy or certificate of completion, excuse me.
Yep. Just want to make sure you saw that, Councilmember Scafidi.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It'll help.
Yes, thank you. I agree. It's a good suggestion. Let's see. Any other questions, comments for first reading?
Not for first reading.
Okay. Let's do it. All those in favor of ordinance number 2025-00, 011, Land Use and Development Code on first reading, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Ordinance carries on first reading. Whew. We're there. Now we're back to general public comment. Again, we'll give you, if you stuck around, you'd like to make a comment about anything, we'll give you your chance now. Please, thank you. We have our first taker. Tell us your name.
Alec Ross, resident of Alpine. I had a question regarding the temporary storage of the school's prefabs on town property. If they are unable to secure their lease, and it seems like there's many reasons to think that that could happen, and I would assume that the school would probably file for bankruptcy in full, or the foundation would file for bankruptcy in full. What happens to the buildings on town property? Do we have a mechanism for forcing their removal? Would that be?
They'd have to have it gone within 120 days.
But if the foundation folds,
Right.
How is that enforceable?
Bankruptcy trustee would be in charge of that according to the agreement.
A bankruptcy trustee? Okay. And, all right, so we're covered there. All right, good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
So I had the same question.
Hi, Heather. Heather Goodrich.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood you. So are they going to be required to sign the lease before they can put the modulars on any land? Because we have the temporary.
They're going to sign that agreement
Before they get dropped?
before they get. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's going to happen soon,
Okay, all right.
like very soon.
And then I did want to just express this allowing, when you say the church, I'm assuming we're talking about the Mormon church? Okay. I just want to express, I think that's a big mistake. I think that allowing the church into a public space could be really offensive to some people, especially people who've had trauma suffered from that church. So I just want to say I think it's a mistake.
Okay, appreciate your comments.
Thank you, guys.
Any other public comment?
Can I comment?
Yes, please.
Heather?
Yes.
As a Mormon, I think it's a bad idea, too. And I'm not traumatized by it. I just think it's a bad idea.
We'll see what kind of work they do. They may not stick around very long.
Patricia McQuaid, I just have a question. When and where will the new lease be posted that I can?
You'll have it, you'll be able to see it tomorrow, tomorrow morning. These guys will put it on, they'll post it tomorrow morning on the website.
Okay.
As soon as possible in the morning.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Let's say before noon. Before. All right.
Hi there, Megan Ramsey. So you guys are aware, when you get agreements like that from the Mormon Church, that's basically one of the first steps in coming into a community where they plan to build a temple. If you want to explore what happened in Cody and the litigation that they're in regarding the temple and how long it's gone on, there are many, many case studies. I can do some research and bring all the steps to you and show you. It's a pretty well outlined plan. So it's basically getting some entry into a community. Right now, there's not a need for that outreach. If people, it is a missionary outreach. So these are people who are doing missionary proselytizing work. So the only thing that is on exchange is one soul. You know, look at it how you want, but free labor is never free. There are strings attached with all of this. It's a terrible idea. Who's to say that they don't open another drawer and come across something that isn't intended for them, or something move somewhere that is not intended for them? It's a horrific idea. I can't believe that you're even considering it. Let's pump the brakes on some of this innovation, and please look at Cody, look at some of the communities, and look at all the little steps that happened, and what the communities have had to face when they allow one particular group to come in. Plus, it's just, I mean, we've just allowed a Hillsdale College, which is one of the farthest right curriculums that you could possibly have in the United States. It's a super PAC. It's a far-right Republican super PAC that funds a lot of that. It's directly associated with Project 2025, Hillsdale. So it's incredibly, incredibly political, and you're going to find that out when people watch this meeting. So you did just invite one of the most contentious groups in America in our time right now to be the curriculum provider for the School of Alpine that is directly associated with Joe Ricketts. So just let that sink in for a moment.
Thank you. And to respond, I think the Mormon Church is pretty well ingrained in this community already. So you don't think the Church of Latter-day Saints is a church?
Both sides of my family brought wagons across the West and big pioneers. I know a little bit about this.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, what's done's done. But we appreciate your comments and staying till the very end. So
You looked familiar.
anyways, great meeting. Just under 4 hours, so that's awesome. But I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded. All those in favor?